In this episode of Uncage Yourself, I have my friend and fellow coach, Paul Conley, joining me. We really just take a different approach. It's two dudes sitting in a bar. This is the type of conversation we're having. We're looking at some of the common myths, some of the challenges that modern professionals are having. This whole idea of work-life balance, we really attack it and put it in a new perspective. We talk about how to put life first and how do you think about putting career? How do you put work as something that enables that life that you seek? So we dig deep. I think we pull out some harsh truths, things that you can action today and make your life better. So really hope you enjoy this. And if you have not yet subscribed to Wednesday Wisdom, which is my weekly newsletter, please do so. I don't know why you haven't yet. It's full of goodness. If you want to learn to live uncaged, strategies, tactics, resources in a very punchy, bite-sized way, I release it every Wednesday morning. You will love it. I promise you. Give it a whirl. Check it out at matthewdoan.com. All right, let's get to the episode. Growing up, society taught you to follow the script by choosing a career path and climbing the ladder. But for many people, this promise falls flat. Work suffocates them and life becomes painful. Here, you're trapped in what I call the corporate cage. Fortunately, there's a way out. You can take control of your corporate job and unlock a life of freedom. I call this living uncaged. Hi, this is your host, Matt Doan. I'm a coach, creator, and entrepreneur. Uncaging people is my mission because it's been my exact life journey. This show provides you the stories, principles, and tactics to make it happen. Welcome to Uncage Yourself. Paul Conley, my fellow coach and friend, welcome to Uncage Yourself.
I am so excited to be here.
Oh, we're going to have so much fun. The focus for today, this is a non-traditional episode. The goal is for two coaches who really care about putting life first. And what that means is to have that conversation, talk about some of the key issues, and frame up solutions that you can use today. We're passionate about this stuff. You'll see it come through as we talk. So let's get started. Sound good, Paul?
I'm ready to go.
First thing I'd like you to do is just kind of give a quick intro, what you're all about.
Yeah. So for me, I'm all about helping young professionals find that untapped potential that they have inside of them, that purpose that they have, and we unleash it. That's what we do. We figure it out. We unleash it so that they're not slogging through life unclear and unsure of what they're doing. And we find it. And then what happens is people are able to become totally free, have more wealth than they could in a normal situation, and really live life on their own terms.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. And you have a podcast titled Life Work Balance.
Oh, yeah.
I would love just to give it the concept of why it's phrased that way.
So it's real simple. Like, we have one life, each of us. We have many different paths we could go down for work. And when you put life ahead of work, everything else improves. Your productivity at work, your performance, your wealth, everything improves. It doesn't work the other way. And we talk to a lot of entrepreneurs that have built their businesses. We talk to a lot of people who have, honestly failed with putting work ahead of their life, and kind of the sad tales that come along with that, but then the rebirth and then figuring it out. So that's what we do. We're taking people along the journey, and it's so fun.
I absolutely love that. And we're going to dissect today what it means to put life first. I want to make it very tangible. That's a great guiding aim, but I want to give people actionable ways that they can make this real in their life. Just to compare that, what Paul was describing, for those that have followed me, the Uncage Yourself podcast, what I'm all about is I help people who are trapped in the corporate cage. These are folks that have, for their foreseeable future, their life will be in corporate. Not everyone is meant to be an entrepreneur. And those people oftentimes, after 10, 15 years, they start to feel this caged feeling, asking themselves, is this all there is? I don't want to keep moving up the chain. It's not attractive. I have other dreams. I'm feeling caged. And the whole point of this show and my mission is to help uncage people, to show how to create freedom right where they are. They don't need to leave corporate. There's lots of choices and behaviors and things you can do right here and now to inevitably put life first, to uncage yourself, to feel free and create a life of freedom that has real tangible benefits. So hopefully you can see why it makes sense for Paul and I to have a conversation, hopefully to give some ideas out to you that you can use. So let's get rocking and rolling. I would love to start, Paul, if we could do a little bit of true false. And if you answer true or false, give your rationale as to why you're choosing true or false. So
Gotcha.
I'm going to put out, maybe some people would call this controversial, but here we go. Here's the first statement. Work-life balance is a thing.
False. It can't be work-life balance. It has to be life-work balance. Because when you put work ahead of your life, you're literally saying work comes first, everything else comes second. My health, my family, my fun and energy, and it just can't be that way. You end up being worse. So, Matt, I'm coming back to you.
Oh, hold on. One thing I want to ask you, I want to challenge you a little bit first.
Right.
I get the concept makes sense, but I want to go deeper for a second.
Gotcha.
Talk to me about the use of the word balance. Even if it's life first, should we be striving for balance?
You know what? I can go either way with that, to be perfectly honest with you. I believe that you should strive for the life that you want, the abundant life that you want. Do I think that there is some level of balance that we all have to orchestrate? Yes. There is the realities of life that you have to generate revenue and income for your families to be able to feed them and to be able to live. So I think that there is some level of you have to generate revenue. Balance, I don't know. I think balance is your own unique term. It's a teeter-totter. Do you want it to be 50-50 and on a plane? Sure. Or do you want it to be one side, hopefully the life side, much higher? I go back and forth on the balance part, honestly. It's not in me. It's not, the balance part is, it's why I just say put life first.
Yeah, that really resonates with me. And I understand why you use the word balance, because it's a flip on a very common term. We talk about work-life balance, right? You're like, no, life-work balance. And you're making a point by saying that. But then there's also the idea of what is balance? Is balance the thing you should be striving for? Some people might say alignment. How do I make sure that work and life is a more harmonized thing where it feels less harsh, where I'm jumping from one thing to another? Or in my case, I could say you could feel free whether you're doing life stuff or whether you're doing work stuff. So
Agreed.
Well, I think we have philosophical alignment there. That's the term that I think might catch people up.
Well, and you know what I would say? That I compare things to running. Okay. If you are not active currently, like you're a sedentary person, I compare that to the person that's working 70, 80 hours a week and sees their kids for like 5 minutes and they're not taking care of themselves. They don't have work-life balance, life-work balance. They don't have anything. Okay. So the abundant life where you're able to kind of be completely free, that's the marathon runner. You have to get off the couch and get from work life, or from work to forget the balance, to work-life balance, to life-work balance. Then we're getting abundant with our time. You can't go from couch to marathon in a snap of a finger.
There you go. Love that. Thanks for going deep with me on that one.
All right, Matt, your turn. We should seek purpose or meaning at work.
No, we should not. This goes against a lot of the missions that companies have, or some of the best advice you have from a career or business school. They say, go find purpose or meaning, do work that you love what you do. I'm sorry. That is really hard. It is really hard. Unless you are possibly creating your own business and you have the luxury and privilege to do that, the finances, the time, like, yes, you can create something there. But generally, when you are working someone else's plan A, their mission, it's inevitably your plan B. And you're going to feel that, right? Your purpose or meaning can't be someone else's. You are an individual. You have your own wants, desires, beliefs, experiences in life. So your purpose or meaning needs to be very tied to you and what you're all about, your unique value system. And if you look for that at work, and you pretend that you can find it, even after maybe a few months of bliss, it's going to hurt. You're going to be like, oh, I don't love this anymore. This does not feel right. This kind of sucks. I'm doing someone else's mission for their bottom line, or even if it's for a not-for-profit, for their mission. It's not mine. And we as individuals, as humans, crave ownership of our own things. It's the way we're wired. So I'd say, actually, don't seek purpose or meaning at work. Look at it from a utility lens, okay? And say, what can I do to extract the most income, benefits, skills, relationships for the least effort? Get the most extracted for the least effort, okay? Why? So that you can create more time for yourself to live the life you want. You can then take that money, take that reclaimed time, spend it with family or self-care or building a purposeful business, right? And you just separate the two and you start looking at, don't find purpose or meaning at work. And if you find it, great. It's a rarity, but maybe that's just a bonus. And then create your own purpose and meaning outside of work.
I was about to challenge you on that. And then you kept going deeper. And I was sitting here thinking, okay, great. Because, I think what you can do is when you are able to create time for yourself, you have 100% complete autonomy on how you use it. So you may want to give back to a charity or a cause that means something to you. But you get to do 100% of what it is that you want to do. You got me there, man. I was ready. You got me.
Yeah, and you're a living example of this, Paul. Yeah. And I was where you were a few months ago, working a corporate job on the side, a coaching business that gives you extreme fulfillment and meaning.
Yeah.
Right?
No doubt.
It's exactly why we're talking right now, because it gives you extreme purpose. And you're having to make careful decisions so that work does not overrun you, so that you have the time and energy to give it. Yeah. It's as simple as that. And you have to ask yourself, what's my version of that? How do I reclaim time and energy from work while getting the most I can and do what I'm meant to do, what gives me joy and energy? Shocking. We're actually aligned on that one, but I love that.
I need some,
we got into the
some
details.
Conflict or something.
All right. Maybe we can get to on this one. All right. Here's a statement for you. We should blend into corporate cultures.
Oh, this one's tough. I actually spent some time thinking about this one because I will say it depends on your outcome. What is your desired outcome? Overall, false would be my overall ability. There are so many people that focus on fitting in that they don't use their unique skill set. If you try to be like somebody else, you're going to not be you. That's the key to this. You try to follow into following a pattern of a supervisor or whatever. When true issues come up, when problems need to be solved, whether it's a business, whether it's a client, whether it's whoever, somebody is compensating you because of your talents. And you have to be able to bring that out. And I know for me personally, when I'm able to do that best is when there's a true issue, crisis, emergency situation where I don't have time to think about what somebody else would do or somebody else would think. I'm acting on gut instinct. And it's normally when I strive.
Beautiful way to put it there. It's like the overall no, but figure out how to be your unique self and how to turn that on. I'd add two additional thoughts that came to mind. One is emulate, don't imitate, right? We want to make sure that we can learn from, be inspired by others, but make it our own. So if we see someone successful, we don't want to wholly copycat them, but what can we take from them that we admire and want to be? And then secondly, possibly blend in for a period of time. When you get a new job, you're in a new company, you want to have some sort of fitting in, right? You want people to accept you. And if you're boldly going against the grain from day one, you're going to rub people the wrong way. So maybe some period of time, 6 months, a year, you're blending in, saying yes, even if you don't agree, you're showing up to all the meetings, you're doing what you need to establish political capital, the ability to have your say later on. And then over time, you start releasing, be like, how can I express myself as an individual? How do I assert my own viewpoints here that helps me stand out and helps me feel better about myself too?
Yeah, the only thing I would add to that, I think that if you do things in your way, there has to be two things that has to be clear. You have to be authentic and you have to be trustworthy. And those go hand in hand naturally. But if you are coming off as doing it to one up somebody or overstep or be bigger than something, it's not going to work. But if you challenge respectfully, I think everything has to be done with respect, regardless of what area of the world you're in. But if you ask why, when you're new to an organization, your naiveness and your curiosity is actually so important because, and I personally, any person I've ever brought on new, I demand of them, they ask why. If I ask them to do something, I want them to ask why, because it forces me as the leader to go, wait a minute, why do we do this? I know we've always done it, but have I given it any thought? Is there a better way?
Yeah. Fresh, unbiased perspectives are invaluable. And we can't kid ourselves. Once we're in the system, we are no longer unbiased. You need the new person with fresh eyes, no history in the organization to start saying, here's what I'm seeing. Why?
All right. Back to you, Matt. All right. True or false? We should do quote unquote. I can't do air quotes because it's a podcast. Our work before corporate work.
That necessitates that we define what our work is. Let me say what our work is. And I know this was a bit of a setup here. Our work is that which gives us purpose and meaning and fulfillment that we know we need to do. Our work can be different things. It can be parenting. It can be reading. It can be self-care. Our work is what makes us go feel energized, make it through every day with great optimism. It can also be very tangible in the sense of a professional world. You might be building a business on the side. You might be writing a book. You might be a poet. You might be a podcaster, right? And our work is that stuff that we know we have to get out to the world. We can't not do it, whether it's home or whether it's professional. We've got to do that shit. We have to put it out there to the world. We all should ask ourselves what our work is. Seth Godin talks about this a lot, the whole idea of our work is our most important thing that we're put on this earth for. And too many people are asleep not knowing what their work is. They just plug into other people's work and decades go by and then they wake up near end of life and be like, oh my God, I'm full of regret. How did I spend my time? So hell yeah, you have to figure out what your work is. It's professional or it's personal and can be a mix. Ask yourself, like, what's the ritual? What are the projects I need to do? The things that keep me alive and optimistic day to day. You have to do that. And I'd say do it before your corporate work. Mornings are critical. I don't care if you say you're a night person. Everyone has to start their day at some point, 5 a.m. or 9 a.m. So do your work first. Do some amount of it that you know you can feel good sleeping that day. You did some movement on writing that book. You did yoga. You were a good parent. You were a good spouse. You put in your work before the corporate stuff hits you like a fire hose, because it inevitably will. And if you're just trying to fit in your work at the end of a day, you're going to fail. You're going to get run over and you're going to feel full of regret. So that's my perspective.
And I think I'd add to it, because there's one thing I thought it was a spot on answer. One thing I disagree with is that the corporate work will hit you like a fire hose. I will tell you that, same exact job for the last 6 years with different organizations, but basically a leader of big groups of people in the same industry. I used to wake up, check email, go straight to work, and it was fire, fire, fire. I would schedule myself back to back to back to back to back. Like I was trying to say yes to everything. I was micromanaging everything. And believe it or not, there kept being fires. When I start my day now and my morning routine, it has to involve exercise and taking care of myself and meditating and reviewing my goals, there's less fires. There's like almost none, because I've proactively planned for what the big things are that matter. And then, you know what? If it doesn't matter, I don't worry about it.
I love that. I fully agree with you. And I'm glad you called me out on that point because you're right. Corporate work doesn't need to be like drinking from a fire hose. It doesn't need to feel that way. If you set yourself up with your own goal work, resetting, mentally ready, if you choose to engage in a certain way at work, not on other people's terms, but on your terms, it can feel way different. It can feel way more under your control. That's the whole idea of feeling uncaged, is to feel free wherever you are. So thank you for that. We've called out how you set it up to make sure that work can feel good after you've done your work. All right, Paul, I'd love to shift a little bit now, actually dive into some tactics. Now, you've talked about making life the priority. I want to understand some of your go to methods for helping people do this. How do you make life your priority? How do you live this way?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, you have to start with, and it takes some time for some people, that this is okay. Like, you're allowed to live life exactly how you want it. You have 100% of the choice you make in your life. If you don't want to spend the day the way you're spending it, you can stop immediately. Now, most people stop me and say, well, wait a minute, I got to put food on the table. I got to do this or that. Yes, there are consequences to every decision. But just by a simple flip of the switch, think if you go into work going, oh, I have to come to work. Yeah, this sucks. I hate everything. To, I choose to do this. I choose to do this because, and find the moments that make you happy. That's the first step in this whole thing. You could do that, within your current corporate job. You could switch jobs. You could start your own business. You can do whatever, but it has to start with, I have complete control of my day. A tactical thing I recommend everybody do is literally take a blank calendar and fill in how you would like to spend your time. Now, you might not be able to get to your ideal, perfect calendar today, tomorrow, or in the next year. It might take a couple years. Maybe it's a switch in jobs. You have to start a business. I don't know. Everybody's unique skill is what it is. But can you do one thing? Can you add one layer of, I'm going to eliminate this thing that I hate and replace it with this thing that I love? And then I think the most important thing is, and this took me a long time to get understood. I'm from the Midwest. You're not allowed to be selfish. You're not allowed to be confident. That's just the way that's the rules. But you have to put yourself first. And people will stop and say, well, geez, this guy sounds selfish. No, you have to put yourself first so you can be there for others. If you don't take care of yourself, you're not there for your spouse and your family. You're not there for the people that you lead. And if you are physically there, you're not showing up the way they need you or the way you want to show up.
A lot of psychological studies say people are only operating between like 5 and 20% of their potential. And a big root cause for that is they aren't being selfish. And selfish doesn't need to be bad. We grew up with that being a negative thing. I would say, agreeing with you, that you have to be selfish before you can be selfless. And that's what we all want to be, right? We want to help others, contribute good to the world. We all say generally that thing, but we can't do that at any sort of high outcome unless we're selfish first, doing what we need to do, understanding what we're about, giving ourselves time and attention and self-care and things that actually help us be our best person. I mean, even if you're operating, go from like 10 to 50% of your potential, and then you direct that to the external world, think what you can do at work, at home, for loved ones out there in the world. Oh my God, it's boundless at that point. But we tell ourselves, oh, I don't have time for that. And I hate this phrase, I don't have time for this. I don't have time for that. Like, no, you do. We all have the same 24 hours a day. Other people that you admire, especially, are just creating the time. They're making careful decisions and sacrifices and trading things off, choosing one thing over another. And you have to ask yourself, what am I willing to say no to so that I can say yes to things like self-care? Because if I say yes to self-care and me, then I can be amazing for those around me.
Well, and I think to that point, when we talk about work, I think that COVID really expedited this, but I always used to think, people would say, "Oh, I do my best thinking in the shower." Well, there's a reason for that. It's because you allow yourself to not be distracted and think. Like personally, if you want me to solve a problem, the best thing you can do is tell me to go for a run. And then we sit down and we talk literally as I'm wiping the sweat off of my face, because I am at my peak of brain power when I can do that. And that's what we need to do. The term I think you used it earlier, sleepwalking. There are people literally sleep deprived that show up to work and they're there, but they're not. You can't think. Your brain, it's like you're drunk. You can't actually physically think. So what are you doing? Now, if you are well rested, energized, you can make very clear, decisive decisions that produce results, which at the end of the day, that's what we're measured on. And that's what we're striving for, is results. I actually personally don't even like the term hard work, because it's not definable. You can't define hard work. Like, it's just, you can't do it. Now you can define results. Give me the person that gives me results over the person that works hard every day.
Absolutely. And you can deliver amazing results for small amounts of effort if you know where to concentrate your time. Say you've done your work to figure out where you're going to spend your time. And at home, I need to do these 3 things. At work, I need to do these 2 things. And then you do it. And you have to say no to certain things. And you have to focus and give your best. Say you're a morning person, you have to give your morning hours to that creative work, right? If you're going to do the creative work, you can't sacrifice it late in the day. So you can do it in a small amount of time, reclaim that time for yourself and live life.
A tactical thing you can do in that is write down the 3 things you want that are the most important to your job, to your life to accomplish. The 3 things. And then at the end of the day, if you're looking and you go, I didn't do anything to move those 3 things forward, you got to restart and think about how you're spending your time. Were you busy because you're afraid of the deep work? Because it's challenging? Because you're handling other people's emergencies? Because you created some things so that you were needed? So that you could really, truly, because deep down you don't want to do some of the work? That's the question you have to really come to grips with.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love, actually, on that note, closing the day with the 3 things you're going to do tomorrow. So you're not sleeping with that anxiety of, oh my God, I have to wake up to this craziness. No, you've actually said what I'm going to do. So you wake up with calm. You don't have to refigure things out. You just proceed through your morning in a smooth way. You already know how you're going to spend your time. And then, like you said, you review at the end of the day. How did I do? Let me reset on the top 3 things for tomorrow. Good to go.
Yeah, I do both. I look at my week on Sundays with my wife, so that there's no personal gaps we're missing. So the dog gets out and we know who's making dinner and all that stuff to avoid any conflict there. That's first thing I do. And then I look at my work calendar and say, boy, and actually the question I started asking myself now is, am I going to show up energetically and focused in my best self for whatever it is? Am I going to be able to show up perfectly for this? And one of the things I started doing was, hey, I got to lay off my Fridays. I got to back them off a little bit because I'm drained by Friday. So that's where I need to probably do some different type of work, because maybe I need to pull back a little bit during the week here and pick some spots so that by Friday I have that energy. So it's a balancing act, but if you don't know what's coming, you can't possibly get ahead of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there one last big tactic that you've got in your mind that you'd like to share with people to put life first?
Yeah, I think that you have to have fun every day. It's as simple as that. Your definition of fun and mine can be totally different. You don't have to go to, a professional sporting event every day. That might not be realistic. But every day, you should do something that brings you 100% joy. What that is, you're the judge. But allow yourself to stop working, because what will happen is, number one, you get to have fun, which is what we should all strive to have as much of as possible on this planet. But number two, you'll allow your brain to rest. And honestly, some of the best ideas I've ever had have been on a run, on the golf course, at the beach, whatever, because you allow yourself to stop thinking and then you do your best thinking.
Absolutely. And it reminds me of something I think you and I both agree on. Why do we do anything in life? Whether it's a job, get married, buy a house, earn money, it's to feel good. And what's one really high quality way to feel good is to go do things that are fun. It's that simple. You're getting your chemicals back in a great state. You raise up as a person. You're more creative. You're reset. You're energized. Good to go. I love that one. Have some fun in life. Make sure you do it every single day. Paul, I think this has been a wonderful conversation so far. I think we could go for hours, and I just want to make sure that people know where to find you. Where can they connect with you online?
LinkedIn's the best place. Paul Conley. Keep it real simple. And then Life Work Balance Podcast. That's where we got some, I got married, so we took some time off. July we'll be back. We're very excited with the guests we're booking. It's gonna be unbelievable. I can't wait. And this has been awesome. I could have went. I'm ready to keep going.
Well, it was fun being on your podcast. Yeah, maybe we'll do more of these exchanges in the future. I think we just kind of share things that we're learning that people are struggling with and keep giving ideas on how to make it real. Couple closing questions for you, Paul.
Yes, sir.
What does uncaged mean to you?
Living life on your own terms.
Period. That's all you need to say.
It.
I love it. What closing message, anything you want to leave with the audience today?
Yeah, you deserve and you can have, doesn't matter what position you're in life currently. You deserve, I'll say it one more time, you deserve and can have the life that you want. Not the life that somebody else wants for you, the life that you want. It's not only possible, it's probable. And you can do it if you're willing to believe that you can do it, and then invest the time and energy and money that it takes to get there.
Don't say it's for other people. It's for you too. There's lots of people doing it. You've got amazing tools and things that are changing in this world right now that make it very possible. So take advantage. Paul, this was wonderful. Thanks for coming around, talking about what it looks like to put life first today. We'll keep the conversation going online.
Awesome. Thanks, Matt.
Thanks, man. Hey, Matt here. Thanks for listening to Uncage Yourself. For show notes and more content like this, head over to uncageyourself.fm. And if you liked what you heard, I'd appreciate you leaving a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Until next time, be well, my friend.